5:30 p.m. and I'm calling to order this regular meeting of the Fargo Board of Education. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I will look for approval of our agenda. Robin?
I move approval of the agenda as presented.
Second. We have a
HC addendum.
Thank you.
I'm still second.
Okay, thanks. So we have a motion from Robin and a second from Ally. Any discussion or questions? All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Individual school, so then they can see their data in real time as well. So add a kind of new element to that, again, trying to actualize and make it a living, breathing document. Dr. McKenna and I met with Valley City State yesterday on something that actually Dr. Gross was working on with them called the Future of Fargo Project. And it was really about probably building a pipeline to teaching before that was kind of the buzz in education. And this one really is about how do you get dual credit in the hands of students and get them into the teaching profession, knowing that then they would leave high school with a couple years of college done, getting them into the teaching education in the profession sooner. So really interesting meeting, and we're going to kind of explore a little bit with maybe some of the grants that Dr. McKenna and his team have written to see if that's a possibility. Always just trying to figure out what are the pipelines we can to get more people into the field. On Friday, just an example, I think, of how we're really trying to work together in the metro area, the West Fargo schools, and our school, and a handful of us are going to meet with the Cass County State's Attorney and just try to level set before the start of the school year. I think we have a really good relationship with juvenile court, with the State's Attorney, and we just want to talk through of like, how can we be efficient from both districts in working with them? What do they need from us to make it efficient? So we're going to have that conversation together on Friday of this week. Next week on the 18th, I'll be joining about 10 to 12 other people from the metro area at a Jefferson gathering hosted by the United Way, where the lone topic is going to be attendance in schools. And we're going to talk through it from a legislative perspective, a school perspective, and a community perspective, and talk about what we could do together to try to really reinforce attendance throughout the metro area. And I think that links really well, obviously, since it's our critical objective for the district. You will be getting from me in my weekly update my draft goals for the upcoming school year. I've given Katie a draft of those, and she gave me some feedback, so I'll give those to you, and then I would ask for any feedback, and eventually we'll bring those back to this group and see if there's any other feedback that we'll have. Just some celebrations that are out there. Jeff's team put on a job fair last Thursday. I believe we had 66 people from the community that attended, multiple offers that we pushed out, and multiple people that were hired. Those are typically some of our hardest to fill jobs, a lot of non-certified, from para to custodial to food service. So just a big pat on the back to Jeff's team for all the work they do with that. One of the things we're getting really close to the start of the school year, 2 weeks coming back to tomorrow. Tonight you approved some resignations, and I do think we're going to have conversations in our negotiations this year about what do we do when we get resignations this late in the game. The district in the past has not ever held those back, which is a good thing because people have their reasons for leaving late in the game. But we are going to have some conversation. Laura and I have talked about this multiple times throughout the year, and think it's something we can figure out. How do we make sure that our peers and our kids aren't maybe put in a disservice for the start of the school year when we have late resignations. But coming back to Jeff's team, really good quality people that we've hired to work for kids. So just appreciate his team taking the time, and we even have a couple ideas of maybe a December one, trying to do it again when we're in kind of that hiring time of year. Was over and had a great chance to be at the Fuse event at Jefferson. Victoria Johnson, who's been before the board, hosts that event. It was amazing. I think we had 8 people cutting hair, food, physicals, bike helmets. They got to do wonderful pictures with the superintendent, and you'll probably see a dance video on social media that is not going to be very flattering for me. But just I think it's one of those things in our strategic plan. We talk about partnerships. This is one of those great partnerships that really benefits our community and Victoria and her team. And it was also really good. We probably had about 10 or 12 FPS people working on getting families registered in our new Infinite Campus system. It's just an all-out community effort, so really proud of that. On Thursday of this week, YouthWorks will host their big community event where people are going to be able to come in and get supplies, especially clothing. And one of the groups that's worked really closely with that was our Fargo Youth Initiative group. So they've been doing a lot of running clothes back and forth. They're going to do some staffing of the event. It's at Fargo South this year. We did that just simply because it's a little more accessible and it's got something that Dakota doesn't, which is air conditioning. And you've been in those gyms. When they're warm, they're really warm. So that event will be on Thursday. Again, I think it's another great example of our partnerships. And then the last one on probably a more somber, serious note, we certainly experienced a grave loss in our student body over the last 2 weeks. And I just want to shout out, it's certainly not a celebration, but the Fargo North administration, counselors, and that school as a whole, helping an employee and their family work through what was a terribly difficult situation, and also providing them, knowing the support will be for us as we go forward too. We never want to do those things, but when those things do happen, I told someone today, we may be a big school district, but family is still what's going to be at the center of everything we do in this district. And I think when you have leaders like Mr. Christensen leading that, and Mrs. Sinner and Mr. Schultes and Mrs. Quintus, should be very proud of handling a very difficult situation. So those are my updates.
Thank you very much for those updates. We will now be moving on to the consent agenda.
I'd like to declare a conflict for item H on the consent agenda, so I will not be voting on this.
Okay, thank you. And can I get a motion for the consent agenda? Go ahead, Craig, sorry.
I move approval of the consent agenda with the human capital addendum.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Greg and a second from Nikki. Any discussion? Any questions? Okay, all in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposition, same sign. And that motion passes 8-0. Next, we'll be moving on to number 7, which is business. The first thing that comes to us is memo 16, and these are our committee assignments. Hopefully you've had a chance to look over them so you know what your assignments are. As I was piecing these together, just to share a little information, since we no longer have CEA, what I realized is that basically every single person will have 3 assignments, except one person will have 4, when I added up like how many people are on the committees and then their outside liaison roles. So that's kind of where I started when I pieced this together. I looked at everyone's preferences, then I also looked at the workload that each person would be carrying, and I also considered some roles where there is a high value in consistency and having the same person there from year to year. So that's how I came up with where we are on this particular memo, and I will look for a motion. Robin?
I will make a motion, but I do want to acknowledge you. This is probably one of the most difficult decisions for a board president to balance everything out. So with that, I'd like to move that the committee and liaison partnership assignments be approved as presented for the 2026-27 school year.
I will second.
Okay, we have a motion from Robin, and I'm going to give the second to Kristen. Okay, any other conversation or questions about this memo for the assignments? None? Okay, Anne Marie, can you call the roll, please?
Gardy? Yes.
Gullickson?
Yes.
Jason Nelson?
Yes.
Kristen Nelson?
Yes.
Robin Nelson?
Yes.
Oldenburg?
Yes.
Berkland?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Christensen Meinier? Yes, and that motion passes 9-0. Next, we move to item B, our strategic plan, scorecard results, and GP 8E approval, which is memo number 17. And I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Steiner, and also please keep in mind that there are 3 different motions that we'll likely be taking as we move through this.
Okay, thank you. So if you want to look at the information you have in front of you, I'll share with you some of the adjustments we made from the feedback we had at our work session. In the scorecard, which is the one with the orange heading, you will see some boxes that have been filled in. As we, it's funny, as many times as you look at something and you talk about something, you get to another, or that last look, and you're like, wait, that didn't look right. And Anne Marie, when we're digging into this, we're like, this doesn't read right. So you're going to see a couple new terms in there. You'll see results not yet received instead of not applicable. We didn't think not applicable necessarily shared it the right way. And then you'll see yet to be determined, which we left blank. So we thought the document needed to have some of those pieces in there for people to understand. Yet to be determined means we should have it at some point. Results not yet received might mean, like, again, that's where the state has not provided us with those results yet. And then you'll see on some data not tracked. So for example, the survey on relevance that we did at the end of this school year, we of course didn't have data last year. To put not applicable sends a message that it wasn't, it just doesn't send the right message. So we wanted to be like, oh, we just haven't tracked that. And so you'll see some of those pieces and just the terminology. And then on the last page, we added one new row, and that was to maintain the general fund reserves of at least 15% of expenditures. That was something that seemed like a pretty, even though it's an EL, that we wanted it to be very visual and transparent. And then you'll see the last part, the target was greater than or equal to 15%. So we didn't want to put it's 16% or 17 because it would have been in conflict with the EL, which we thought could have been problematic. So those were the adjustments that we made in that document. In the policies, we made sure that that upper paragraph matched exactly what was in the district scorecard. So like we had said, I had made some changes when we made the changes to the previous one. Now they match, so that terminology is the same in both places, which was another thing that you guys had caught, which was a mistake on our end. And then you're not necessarily approving these documents, but I just want to point out in the handouts that you got in front of you, the multiple page one, you asked for kind of a little bit of a statement around the theme for this year, which we added in there. And then you also asked on the portrait of a learner, we pulled out the academic excellence piece because again, people were thinking that that was linked to the strategic initiative, which was not supposed to be the intent. And then respectful, we changed to respect, and we changed that in the respect area as well to make sure that that matched. So there wasn't a lot in terms of the visual in that part, but there were just some of those things, so we made those adjustments. And then in the one pager, in one page front and back, the feedback that was really, really good, because again, as many times as we looked at it, we just never really thought about it, is we did add the targets for this year. So we went from just the one column to both. You'll also see some of the language in there of not yet tracked or those things. So we tried to match that as closely as possible. And then we made sure also the explanations under the initiatives matched what were in the scorecard as well. So those were the adjustments that we made from the feedback session. And you've had a lot of this information for multiple times, so I'll take any other feedback. And these documents, because these are not things that you will approve, if you have feedback, we can still make some changes to that in terms of if we miss something.
Okay, so are you ready for questions?
Yes.
Okay, did you have a question, or do you want to make a motion? Or do you want to turn your mic on? Or
I just had a comment, but I can wait.
okay, do we want a motion then for number 1? Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I'd like to move that we approve the Fargo Public Schools scorecard and corresponding strategic plan documents as presented.
Second.
So we have a motion from Greg and a second from Jason. Any questions or comments? Nikki?
I'd just like to say, I know this took an immense amount of work, and I appreciate everybody contributing and streamlining this, and I think we have a really good-looking and yet meaningful document that was the end result. So I appreciate everything that went into this. I think our community can understand this, get around it, and support it. So thank you to everybody involved.
Okay, thank you. Melissa?
Yes, this is amazing, and I know this is like a really minor nit. I just noticed that for the academic excellence, it's the same in the strategic initiatives and our monitoring policies, but not in the scorecard. And I just, like, it's not verbatim, and I thought we were going for like identical.
Then we just messed that up.
Okay, so
And are you talking like under here, Melissa?
So for example, it says academics as a public school system on the scorecard, but then it says on the strategic initiatives as a system of public schools. So these are like
We
really
will change
minor.
it to match the
Right,
results
so,
policy.
And then there's another sentence too. So I'm sorry to even bring this up, but I just,
No, we wanted to match, we thought we had it, so again, that's a good example of when you have different eyes on it. So we will get that adjusted to match off of these documents.
okay, and I don't know that it's worth like amending our motion to do that.
Go ahead.
I just have one comment. Thank you for adding the minimum of the 15% fund balance. The policy does state between 15 and 25, but I will still support this motion.
Okay, other questions or comments? Greg?
Yeah, I want to echo what Nikki said. Some gratitude for the amount of work that went into this from like so many different layers of FPS. And I also am very appreciative that at the outset, we kind of, as a board, agreed that, we probably don't need to spend a pile of money on consultants because we were going to end here anyway. And I'm really happy with where we ended. I think we have a lot of common sense goals as well as some really aggressive targets that I think will make a huge difference at FPS. So I'm just really thankful where we ended up.
Okay, other questions or comments? Okay, so we're going to vote on the motion that's on the floor right now to approve the scorecard and corresponding strategic plan documents. Anne Marie, we are ready for the roll call.
Gullickson?
Yes.
Jason Nelson?
Yes.
Kristen Nelson?
Yes.
Robin Nelson?
Yes.
Ollenberger?
Yes.
Berkland?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Gardy? Yes. Christensen Maynear?
Yes, that motion passes 9-0. Okay, next is the recommended motion number 2. Do you have anything else you want to say about that, or can we go straight into it? Okay, would anybody like to make that motion? Nikki?
I move that we approve the updated board results policies as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion from Greg and a second from Ally. Oh, sorry, a motion from Nikki and a second from Ally. We're really playing like popcorn tonight with this. Yeah, everybody wants to say things. Sorry, Nikki and Ally, sorry. Okay, any discussion on this? Okay, let's go ahead and call the roll.
Jason Nelson?
Yes.
Kristen Nelson? Yes. Robin Nelson?
Yes.
Ollenberger?
Yes.
Berkland?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Gardy?
Yes.
Gullickson?
Yes.
Christensen Maynear?
Yes, that motion passes 9-0. Okay, and then our next one up is the board policy GP8E. Should we just move right into voting for that? Okay, cool. Anybody want to make that motion? Nikki?
I move that we approve updates to board policy GP8E as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Nikki and a second from Jason. Any discussion on this? Discussion or questions? Okay, we're ready, Anne Marie.
Kristen Nelson?
Yes.
Robin Nelson?
Yes.
Ollenberger?
Yes.
Berkland?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Gardy?
Yes.
Gullickson?
Yes.
Jason Nelson?
Yes.
Christensen Meinier?
Yes, that also passes 9-0. Thank you very much. That feels great to have this all ready to be put into action. So thank you again for all this time and effort. All right, next we are moving into our board reports, our committee liaison and correspondence reports, and I am going to start with Ally.
All right, so a couple things. First of all, I just want to shout out to the IT department and everybody that is working through the Infinite Campus rollout. I know that there has been a few hiccups, but overall, around the public, there's been positive buzz in terms of getting things done, and so shout out to that team for all of that work. And I do just also want to follow up on Dr. Steiner's comments and acknowledge the Bradenberger family at the loss of their son and the Northside family rallying around them.
Okay, thank you, Ally. Melissa?
Yes, I just want to report that I attended both Frozen and Newsies, the Trova productions, and both were excellent. And then on a personal note, I have a child who's new to North, and I just want to commend the entire administration and counseling team has been really remarkable and very welcoming of every student. It's just very neat to see.
Thank you. Nikki?
Thank you. I had the fun and honor of attending the new teacher welcome at Davies last Thursday. That was a whole lot of fun. A lot of surprised faces, so, but it was a good time. Shortly after that, I also, North High is my liaison school, and my condolences to everybody up there. That is a very tough situation. Travis, Dan, and Amanda were wonderful to meet with. And then we haven't approved, well, we just approved committees, so no committee work other than that yet tonight. Also, I was reappointed as North Dakota State Legislative Chair for PTA, so that will tie into the GAC work that we will do throughout the year as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Greg?
Nothing to report.
All right, Robin?
Yes, I already had my first school liaison visit with Dakota High School with Principal Berkman. There's so many notes that I'm going to try to limit these to 3 things. So I had the pleasure of meeting Tyrese. She's a positive behavior tech, and she talked to me about how excited she is about Dakota High School and all of the sense of belonging activities they do. If we could bottle up her passion for Dakota and her energy, life would be perfect. A couple of things, realizations that I probably just needed to hear again, reminded that this is a self-paced learning environment. It has separate section of North Dakota Century Code. So sorry, I forgot my glasses, as I mentioned. They prioritize targets, not so much Carnegie or credits. They have mid-year graduations. Every time there is a graduate, they play Cool in the Gang, celebration in the hallway. And then just here's a little perspective. The math teacher, for example, is running approximately 21 separate semesters to keep the kids on pace. And I thought, that's a wowza. As far as the number of students, 240 to 250 a year. About 210 will stick. And they have about 30 homeless students that they serve. They also it's considered a community eligible program, so they receive free and reduced lunches without completing the forms. So again, I had several pages of notes, but wanted to keep it brief. Community liaison assignments, since I was still assigned to SEEK at the time, I did attend the retreat today from 9 to 1. A couple of highlights I already shared with Dr. Corey. There's a whole bunch of superintendents on this board and then a couple school board members, and it was all about, we're all focusing on Infinite Campus. I shared with Bill, somebody said, well, the videos have been kind of excruciating to watch, but ChatGPT is making it easier, which is, of course, is coming from Superintendent Gandhi, and so take that for what it's worth. SPED difficulties in implementation and individuals are hard to track, so that is John Porter's specialty. So that's Infinite Campus. Statewide employee benefits came up, and I apologize, I haven't been paying too much attention to this. There's discussion from Superintendent Bachmeyer about centralizing some of this statewide, and there are even some discussions. As you know, we're self-funded with our insurance, but connecting it to the per pupil payments, they are considering if school districts opt into the statewide plan, they might add an additional 2% to the per pupil payment. Total news to me. REAs are no longer using Cognia accreditation. They are building their own process. That's about all. There's some other discussions, but time well spent. GAC related, have to pull back one of my quotes from the last meeting and clarify either I misunderstood or there are different beliefs out there. More likely the former than the latter. There will be discussions about the property tax relief and reform bill. However, will be the internal workings, not the 3% cap. So I am hearing that the 3% cap won't likely be reconsidered, but the internal workings inside of that. And then also was contacted by the West Fargo School Board President. They would like to partner a little bit more with legislators and combine lobbying priorities, which we did actively for many, many years. And I assumed everybody would like to do that, so I said, let's talk. That is all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Jason?
Yeah, I was able to attend the board night at Trollwood, and I'm not a theater dad or ever in the theater, so I might use the wrong terminology, but I think the stagehands, they impressed me a lot. The moving everything and how big and everything, and watching them do the work they did so that the show could go on. That was great. And then I'll give my kudos to all the significant others that are helping getting classrooms set up right now. so classrooms are ready to go when school starts. So that's it.
Kristen?
Okay. I only have, Trollwood night, or the board night at Trollwood was fantastic. And it was a great show, and it inspired, my child to, have her costume for her show this weekend be, Anna and Elsa with her friend. So we are living all things Frozen since Trollwood, but it was a fantastic show as always, and so lucky that we get to see it every year. So that's it.
Thank you. Jolene?
I was also able to attend the evening at Trollwood. It was a wonderful performance, and then the new staff welcome as well, and got some people jazzed up right away in the morning as they were getting all sorts of goodies. So it was fun to see all the administrators and staff out there.
Wonderful, thank you. For my report, I will share that I was also at Frozen. I know I shared in the past, my son had participated in the past as a student. Since he's no longer a student, he was actually able to be staff, so I was probably the only person there taking picture of staff at Frozen, but I was very proud of him and everyone else who made that a huge success. My 3 reminders are going to be all related to your calendars. First of all, the staff opener is August 20th, 1 p.m. at Davies. You can attend in person at Davies, or there will be a link if you want to watch it virtually. Save the date, October 8th and 9th is the North Dakota School Board Association Conference. If you have not RSVP'd to Anne Marie yet, please let her know so she can make those arrangements. And then the last thing I'll mention is that because we now have approved our committees, hopefully your committee chairs will be reaching out to you sometime soon to start setting up that initial meeting and start kind of making plans for getting to work for our new school year here. That is all I have. Our next meeting will be August 25th. It is 5:59 p.m. and this meeting is adjourned.